Hey, what's going on? Coach Luca here with a little bit of a coach's corner. And what I'm going to cover today is some of the, actually it's like template. I want to explain the philosophy behind training. In this case, it's I was not even the preseason. It's kind of like the late off season for the rugby team, the Seattle Seawolves. And it's one specific day, but I want to kind of just go over the thinking philosophy because as with anything, you want to reverse engineer things, right? So if we're looking at a client or if we're looking at a team, we want to look at what result do you want to achieve from strength, power, conditioning, what are the demands of the sport, what are the demands of the individual that you want to improve on, and then work backwards. And so we're going into the second phase, kind of this late off season. We've already done 4 weeks. This is going to go into the next 4 weeks, where there's also going to be some on-field practices. And a quick explanation, because I'm going to show you guys this, which is the Friday session, which is our full body dynamic, right? So there's a little bit more power, strength, speed work on this for the full body. But the way that we break it down is a lower body max effort, rep effort on Mondays. But there's always, I would say, speed and agility work, right? And we're ramping up, I would say, the volume of that as we're going into official preseason. Tuesday's aerobic capacity, very, very important to work on always, so we keep increasing the volume. And that also works for essentially a recovery workout from a very, very hard Monday, where there's also some on-field work. Wednesday's upper body max effort, rep effort, also some speed and agility, lower body stuff in there too. Thursday's anaerobic galactic, so short explosive repeats. Now in the first phase, we were doing a whole bunch of anaerobic threshold work because things are moving on to the field now. That's being taken out, and we're continuing anaerobic explosive repeat work here. And then Friday's full body dynamic, and Saturday, Sunday is kind of recovery. There's some recovery workouts going on there. But like I said, we're starting early, a lot earlier than we usually have. So just kind of philosophy, and while, in a lot of cases you might say, I love full body workouts in those situations, there's a whole reasoning why we went lower, upper, full, but there always is some speed, power work in every one of those days. Now, I go by that. You guys have seen me work and talk about R7, the R7 philosophy. The players will always do, soft tissue work, so our release and reset, breathing, positional breathing to bring that nervous system down. And then we go into readiness. Now, here's the thing. Different players need different things, and some of this readiness here is things that are, we work on issues that we see a lot of, groin. So think about not only improving soft tissue, but also strengthening the groin up, the adductors, right? So we're doing pails and rails, frog stretches. Obviously, we're doing soft tissue work there. Ankles are a big thing, so we're doing pails and rails on ankles. We have specific ankle drills, strengthening drills that the players will come in and do. Hip end range hold, so like I said, not only increasing range of motion of the hips, but then strengthening the hips. We're doing cars, pails and rails, a lot of that functional range conditioning methodology. And then from there we go into things that like shin box switches, tie sit, squat to stands, Frankensteins, right? A lot of things that will get the body prepped. Now, even though this kind of like looks longer, this will be 15 minutes, 20 max. Some players that need, I would say, a little bit more work will spend a little more time on it. And then we go into a moving warm-up. So we're going into things like a high knee, into lunge to instep with rotations. We're going into side lunges with glides all across, I would say, the turf. And then from there we have a sequencing of a whole high knee sequence. So these are running mechanic drills, skipping sequence, karaoke sequences, which also we call extensive plyometrics. Is getting the guys ready to be able to, for the tissues to withhold the loads as the season comes. So we're throwing in extra volume. It's a thing that's very underrated, is extensive plyometrics. So we have intensive ones, which are very, very high intensity, less volume, like working on the maximal explosiveness and speed and jumps and elasticity. And then we have like extensive ones. So it's been found that if we have a nice long ramp up, the players will be more ready and more bulletproof for that. And then from there, here's where we go into our dynamic effort, full body, and a pretty good chunk of volume. And like I said, we're taking advantage of, like I said, this late off season. We got some extra blocks that we were able to do and start with the team, which is great, because the longer preparation that we have and build up, the better. So in our reactive sequence on that day, like I said, there's not full context because you're not seeing the other days, but we do heavy sled pushes here, and then we contrast them with accelerations on reactive accelerations, meaning that I'm clapping, I'm yelling, I'm giving a signal, right? So we're working on their reactivity as well, and we're contrasting that here, right? So that means we'll do about a 7-10 second max sled push, then we have a break that's at least about a minute long, if not more, and then we do 10-yard accelerations, the reaction time. So that's kind of our first reactive block. And every one of the days, even the upper body days, we're always doing some type of elasticity, some types of speed, some types of jumps that are happening in that program. From there, we go to resistance. And because of this block, we really want to increase the relative strength, absolute strength. Like this is very, I would say, CNS demanding. We're doing overcoming isometrics and supersetting them. So you can see we're doing those, and you guys probably see me do a video of this, the overcoming isometrics as far as how to do them. So you can loop back and watch it on Instagram or on YouTube. We're supersetting that with dumbbell squat jumps, right? So first we do these isometrics. We're creating as much force as we possibly can. Take a pretty long break here, at least a minute and a half, maybe even 2. Dumbbell squat jumps, jumping as high as possible. And then because this is full body, we're adding in also tall kneeling dyno ball vert throw. So kneeling down and you're throwing the ball as high as you possibly can. So it's a little bit, not completely vertical, but you see in rugby where there's a lot of push in this area as well. So we're training that, and that's a tricep. Even though, like I said, there's a longer break there, it is a tricep. From there, we go still train the squat pattern with double kettlebell wedge squats. So we want to load it pretty heavy, but the systemic load is lesser, right? Like it's very challenging if you go heavy on the kettlebells, especially with the wedge. But like I said, the systemic load is less because we're not going to lift as heavy if we maxed out on a barbell back squat. From there, we got TRX rows with chains, so we got horizontal pull movement, dumbbell walking lunges, which will load pretty damn heavy here, single arm dumbbell bench and a bridge. So we want to do, you'll see a lot of programs have a lot of unilateral work, single leg work, but also single arm work, right? Whether it's pressing, landmines, single arm rows, cable rows, right? So that we not only we work on those asymmetries, we work on the stability of the core, and we're doing that in a bridge position because the more posterior chain work that we can do for these guys, the better. And if you saw every day, there's something working on that. And then here at the end, we got glute bridge hamstring deceleration, where we're in a bodyweight glute bridge and we basically jump out and catch on that hammy. So we're working on that hammy durability. And every single day also has, like I said, that we're training, even on upper body days, there's some hamstring durability, tendon durability of calves, shins. Like I said, things that are usually weak and under-trained, but that weakness leads to injury, right? So we're plugging those things in, and they're also there on conditioning days. Like, for instance, if somebody has things that they need to work on, there's protocols that they come in and do to bring those weaknesses up, right? So this is kind of like an insight. Once again, once we hit preseason, there's more competing demands. This changes significantly, and also it changes for player positions. Because once again, right now, the whole team is not with us yet. But it gives an insight. And here's what's cool about this, that if you are, if you guys have seen my Athlete for Life template, you'll notice that a lot of these things are, I would say, can mirror that Athlete for Life template, right? So if you're somebody that's looking to improve strength, power, athleticism, right, this would be something that you would see similar in the programming of our clients that are looking to do that, whether they're an athlete, whether they're just wanting to play flag football, some type of sports, pick up basketball, anything like that. And once again, we take into account their lifestyle, and then we plug that in. But hopefully you can see how that viewpoint of those 7 R's that we talk about can be transferred into program design template, and it helps you also design yours. So with that said, Coach Luca, see you in another Coach's Corner. Peace out.